guys, it's Chris here. I'm just finishing getting set up. I have a couple of Halloween projects that I wanted to show you guys before Halloween. So I had actually intended on doing it earlier in the week but ran out of time. And then today was so beautiful outside, and I have not actually cleaned up my garden yet, so that is what I spent some time doing this morning. So I had actually planned on coming on earlier, but was out there instead. It is gorgeous here today, and we've had like a lot of winter like stuff going on. So all my vegetable plants were still in the garden, and all my flowers were still in the garden. So if all goes well, this is what we're going to make today. So it is this super cute little hand sanitizer container. So these every year at Bath and Body Works, and we're going to make this super cute little web for on top of the tombstone, as long as all goes well. So every year at Bath and Body Works, they have Halloween and fall themed hand sanitizers. And so and they're not very expensive. And so I know this idea is floating out there all over the place, but so I just took it and I've used close to my heart products to create it. So this one is sweet cinnamon pumpkin, which sounds delicious, I would have to say. So I'm going to make a different one. Sorry, something is just a little weird. So, okay. So this is the one that I created, and I had to play around with it quite a bit to make everything work, but we're going to basically make the exact same one, but I'm going to use different hand sanitizer. So it took a lot of measuring to try and figure out what was going on. But I played with it long enough because I had a different one that worked before. But they changed the hand sanitizer a couple of years ago, and then it didn't fit quite the same way. So this is the one that I've gotten to work. So right here on my piece of paper are the measurements. So you can follow along or you can watch it later and make the same thing. There's lots of different flavors and stuff that you could use, and you could change it up. So this one is perfectly pumpkin. So I think I'm going to add the little black cat on this one for Halloween. So this is the one we're going to create today. So what you will need is, this is basically how it's going to work. So my piece of cardstock is 2.5 by 10 1/4. So, and then I'm going to score it. Sorry, just one sec here. I'm just going to share with my classroom that I'm doing this right now. There we go. Okay, so like I said, the piece of cardstock, so I'm going to use black cardstock, and the piece of cardstock, because that's more Halloween like, is I have a few projects all piled around me, so hopefully I don't pull. Hello, Miss Ginny. So the piece of cardstock is 2.5 by 10 1/4, like I said, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/2, 6 1/4, and 7 1/2. I folded this piece of paper several times to get it to fit properly. I wanted it to be snug enough that there wasn't a ton of room over top, and not too big that they'd fall out. I'm still going to put a little piece of glue dot on the bottom so that it doesn't come out. But so, to speed things up a little bit, because I needed to warm up my hot glue gun at the same time, and I don't want to end up with glue everywhere. So, like I said, we're going to score it at 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 3 1/2, 6 1/4, and then 7 1/2. And then, so I just have scored it already. So, once you're scored it, then I'm just going to go over them again. On the little section between the 1/2 inch and the 1 3/4, I took the second smallest oval thin cut, and all I did was, between those two pieces, placed it in the wide section. That's where the hand sanitizer is going to sit, and I taped it down and ran it through my Cuttlebug. I did that before, like I said, because I also had to heat up my hot glue gun. We've got a lot of stuff going on. So this is the hole that the hand sanitizer is going to sit in, just like so. So now that this piece is all scored, we're going to set it aside. Now, for the tombstone behind my little ghost here, I used one of the thin cuts from the Fancy Tags. I used this one down here. So it looks just like this. And I think this is pewter I cut it out of, just a dark gray color. So this is the Fancy Tag right here. And then I just trimmed off the very bottom so that he was actually flat. And now we are going to make the spider web on him. So I saw this and I thought this was so cute. The only thing is I need to get it up a little bit off my table. So I'm just looking for something to stack underneath it. Maybe this will be enough. I'm going to try and stay on camera. So now I have my little tiny hot glue gun. Oh, maybe I'll put this underneath too. So I don't know what it is about my hot glue gun, but every single time, because I don't use it very often, every single time I need it, I have to go and look for it. So I spent half my day the other day looking for my hot glue gun. Okay, so now I have 2 old and yucky sponges, and I always just cut them up. So these are ones that I've used already, and we're going to use the hot glue gun to create the spider web. So if I didn't want this to move, I would be smart and just tape it down, maybe with a little piece of washi tape. I'm just going to tape it onto my block because I kind of need like a third hand to do this. So we're hot now. So I'm just going to squeeze some hot glue onto one of the sponges. And I'm just going to take my second sponge and basically just pull them apart. And there we have the beginning of spider webs. And you can do, hello Leanna. I also am very much always burn myself with my hot glue. Totally happens every single time. So there, if you wanted more, and then you just add some more hot glue on. Again, same thing. Just smush it a little bit and then pull it apart. It is super cool. And then I'm just gonna leave this, set it aside to dry for a few seconds while we do the other part. So, oh my goodness, weird lights. But now you can see it's super fine, but it totally looks like spider webs. On there. You could use it for so many things, but I thought it would be just cute on the top of the tombstone there. I'm just going to now unplug my hot glue gun before I burn myself more. Okay, and now back to my little treat container. I'll just keep this here probably. So on the first section, the 1/2 inch section, there are the marks. So in this first piece, the first 1/2 inch, that's where we're going to add the adhesive. Okay, now it's literally just a matter of folding it up. You basically you're making it like a box bottom so that the hand sanitizer will sit in it. So what you want is for this to be very square. So I've just added adhesive here. If you want something stronger than the Tombow, that's totally doable. So I'm going to try and do this so you guys can see. But it just sits like this. So now you have a small square box on the bottom, and we're going to put our hand sanitizer in there. So I'm just running over the adhesive. With my bone folder so that it stays together. And now you can see it will just fit inside, just like this. So now that the hot glue is dry on here and looks like our spider web, I'm going to decorate this first and then add it to the front of my hand sanitizer container. So I'm just going to move this over to the side. And because the hand sanitizer is perfectly pumpkin with the little kitten on it, I thought I had to add the little kitten from the stamp set. So this stamp set is the Hello Pumpkin, the scrapbooking one. And here's the little kitten. So I pre-stamped him because I wanted to add the black shimmer pen onto him so that he's a little bit sparkly. So I wanted him to dry first. So I did stamp him before, and I have a ghost here too, somewhere. And we're gonna put shimmer brush on both of these things right now. So on the ghost, I just added a little bit of my Shin Hand marker, the warm gray, the WG4, just to add a little bit of shadow to him. And now I'm just going to put some clear shimmer brush on him, just to make him a little bit sparkly so he's not so scary for Halloween. Okay. So I just took my marker and then I took the colorless one and pulled some of his color in a little bit, just so that he looked a little more spooky. And there's some, now he's just got some sparkle on him. And we're going to add the black shimmer brush onto the little cat. So I know you're not going to be able to see him, but I'm just going to show you again how pigmented the shimmer brush is. So it's actually like black, but it's sparkly. So I'm going to add a coat on top of my cat so that he's sparkly. My kids and my nieces and nephew love the hand sanitizer from Bath and Body Works because it smells so good. So they will be all getting this for their treats on Sunday. Well, I guess it's not actually Sunday. Halloween's like the middle of the week, like a Tuesday or whatever. Luckily, they all live relatively close. So I will have special ones set aside just for them. Okay. So that we will set aside. I'm just going to let him dry for a second. And I'm going to just fussy cut my ghost very quickly. It's a super simple shape, so it's super easy to fussy cut. I'm sure this is not terribly exciting, but he dries pretty quickly. I just wanted the marker to dry underneath him first. So there we go. Yeah, so I'm very impressed that I got the rest of my garden out today. So now I don't feel guilty being down here. Okay, so then the other thing that I thought was super cute is I wanted some grass along the bottom. So I used our Decorative Borders thin cuts, and this is just sweet leaf, and I cut some of the fringe, and I'm just going to turn it into grass. So I didn't want it like this high, and I thought so I would just trim it up to look like grass at the graveyard. So I just kind of took my scissors and made it all different lengths. Okay. And so I'm going to just add this onto the bottom. I think for speed, I will just use tape runner. I could just bend the grass up a little bit so it looks more real. And then I'm going to take the stamp that says "Too Much Candy" from the same stamp set, which is the Hello Pumpkin scrapbooking one. And I have my black ink. which I don't see right this second, but I know I grabbed it. Oh, it's behind me. There we go. And I cut out a different label from the same thin cuts, that the fancy tag thin cuts. And I am just going to stamp this sentiment on here. So I'm just using the new Black Intense ink, and I quite like this one. I'm going to want my stamp to go this way. So there we go. Okay, so now I have all my parts and we're just going to put it together. So here's our container again. And the first thing I'll do, I'm going to trim my grass here a little bit. Got some extra grass there. So I'm going to add, so I actually added it with foam tape so that it stood up a little bit. Oh, I need to add my twine on here though, so that it actually stays closed. So I'm going to use the new mink twine that's a little bit thicker than our gray twine from before. And so all I did was I closed it up how I want it to be when it's done. So this way I'll get the right amount of twine here, and it'll end up being underneath my tombstone. That's why I popped it up on foam tape. So I'll just cut myself some extra. I'm just going to tie it into a bow for right now. So now this is how the container will stay closed. Just like so, and it doesn't have to look pretty just yet. You just want to know where it's going to go. So I've centered it now on my front panel. I'm going to add my foam. These are the inside pieces of my shaker cards that we've been creating this month with the Holiday Sparkle campaign. And if you haven't seen, you should go and look at the little gift bag I made. It's very cute. And it's got the Holiday Sparkle card all cut apart with a flip flap on the front to make like a big, huge gift tag for a present. So, just taking off my foam squares. Now, I'm just going to add it onto the front. Somebody let me know if I'm bumping off camera. So there we go. Now it's on the front. Our twine runs down the middle, so you can still open it and your twine is on here at the right length for adding your. So now at this point I will probably add my hand sanitizer, and I'm just going to put a couple of, it's just slight, the oval is just slight, like that second oval is just slightly too big. So I'm just going to add 2 glue dots, which, because that's all I seem to have here. I have more, it's okay. On either side, so that when I stick it in, it will actually stick down to the bottom, just like so. So now it's in there and not going anywhere. So I can close this up now. Tie it up pretty. little bit smaller and trim off my end. And that part is all done. So now I'm going to add my ghost, and let's see where I'm going to. I think I'll do it like this. And then from the same decorative thin cut, I cut out just some extra tags to play with. And I think, yeah, I think I'm going to add this one in here. Just like so. And I'm just going to tuck it behind the cat. So I'm going to use, oh, well, for my kids, they'll be a treat. For, I guess, other people that get them, they would be a trick because if they're not getting candies. But my daughter is actually got a nut allergy. So we do try and find stuff that is not candy and stuff. And they're super economical because you can buy them for $10 or something. There's constantly a different deal on them. So it's like lots of people here hand out full chocolate bars. I'm pretty sure it's got to be about the same price. So not everybody's going to get a super decorated one though. Only the special kids. So there we go. I've just put a thin foam dot on my ghost just to raise him up just a little bit off the paper. And I'm just going to bend him a little bit so that he looks more ghost-like. But he doesn't really look very scary with his big huge smile on his face. And I will just add some adhesive to the back of these. And just gonna lightly hold them there while before I put my cat down. So yes, I still have at least one more Halloween-like. Yes. Up here, we have like the teal colored pumpkin thing so that they know that they can come to the house if you're worried about your kids with allergies. And so I always try and give something different because I know it's hard for Hans. Not anymore because she doesn't trick or treat. But when she was little, she ended up giving half her bag away to her dad, which made him quite happy. So there we go. He is all finished. And I think that is super cute. I obviously have to put blue dots though on this one to hold him in. So this is the one with the little cat, and this is the one with no cat. Oh, these ones are too small. And then I actually have, this is the third one, the third flavor we picked, and it's pumpkin sprinkled donut. And I think I'm going to do the little pumpkins on that one from the Stamp and Thin Cut, the Hello Pumpkin card making stamps and thin cut. So I have some more treats to hand out. So again, there are all the measurements and all the score marks, and you might have to play with it. I don't think that, like, there's lots of companies that have the hand sanitizer, and I'm sure that other places do the Halloween one. You might even be able to get it at like a Dollarama or something too. There. That's much better now. It won't slide out. So I just thought that that was kind of cute. So I hope you guys all have an awesome Thursday. And I will talk to you all later. Have a great day, guys. Bye.